Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Llama and finally 8.1 is here. So there's a lot of interesting new features that are coming into the game and changes to existing features that are going to greatly improve the game in my belief. But one of the things I'm most excited for about this patch is one of the implications it's going to have for gold making. So in this video I've actually got 3 little ways in which I feel the gold making game is going to be impacted by this patch, and I'm going to go over them all for you now. But just before we do that, the first thing we need to understand is what the changes are that are affecting the gold making, and there are a lot of changes in this patch, but the one that's going to primarily affect gold making is the speed at which you can level. Now, I know this seems rather random that leveling faster is going to improve your likelihood of making large amounts of gold, but trust me, it is, and I'm going to go on to explain why in just a second. But before we do, in case you've been living under a rock, I did just want to briefly look at what these changes are that are improving the leveling speed. So basically, the most notable thing that is changing about the leveling process is the amount of experience required to get from one level to another. So the amount of experience required from 0 to 20 is basically unchanged, but from 20 onwards all the way up to 110, there has been a massive reduction in the amount of experience required per level, varying from about 20% up to about 40% on any given level as a reduction, with the 40% being towards the level 40-ish bracket and staying that way until about level 80-ish. And that is obviously the slowest portion of leveling pre this patch 8.1. So the big thing that we need to take away from this is the fact that leveling is going to be much faster now, and as a result that opens up a few new avenues of gold making potential. But on top of the fact that the amount of experience required has been greatly reduced, we have also seen a new experience potion added into the game, which you can get relatively easy now, and it is bind to account, so you can use this across realms as well, which is going to tie in with what we're about to talk about. On top of that, we have also received some new heirlooms, which are supposedly quite powerful. I've not yet had a chance to test them on the PTR myself, but with live here now, there's no need for that. We're just going to get our hands on them. And apparently the on-use effects of the trinkets are incredibly powerful, and as an extension of that, will increase your leveling speed even further. With that covered, how can you go about making gold from this change? Well, there's a few obvious, the most obvious being that if you lack a high level character to do any given farm on, you are going to be able to level up a character rather quickly now in order to be able to do that farm. So obviously most farms can be done on any given character, but there are a few that are much faster and easier to do, and a couple that are actually unique to certain classes. The Warlock Green Fire quest item farm, for example, is strictly limited to Warlocks. Then you've got others like Monk mass pulling farms or instance farms that are heavy on lockboxes and treasure chests, so you're going to want to use a Rogue. These things are just going to be made a little bit easier for you to attain by the fact you can now level up the appropriate class for the farm a lot quicker. Now secondly, while we're talking about leveling characters anew, this does obviously give us the potential to diversify onto new realms. So chances are a lot of you play only one realm, and if you do, that realm might well be a high pop realm or a low pop realm, and these two different realm types have very differing styles when it comes to making gold. For example, high pop realms, you're going to see faster sales, and you're going to see a lower gold per item average than on a low pop realm, but you are also going to have higher demand for items, so things are going to shift a little bit quicker. This makes them quite good for getting yourself a steady amount of gold and not having to worry about not getting the gold required in a certain time frame that you need. So for example, the high pop realm gold making is excellent for things like covering WoW token costs to keep your game time running, but it does make it considerably harder to get these really large figures, especially when you consider that there are more people to be competing with. Similarly, well, more exactly the opposite, a low pop realm has the exact opposite problems. You're going to get large returns per item, but you are going to have very inconsistent sales, and you are going to be finding yourselves having no sales whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, bam, everything sells and you get a massive gold return. Now, there are perks and cons to both of these realm types when it comes to gold making, but with this leveling change, there is now very little reason as to why you can't have characters actively making you gold on one of each style of realm. This means that you're going to be able to get your consistent gold that you require on a high pop realm, keep those WoW tokens ticking over, but also then have a low pop realm's gold making capabilities for making large purchases when you do eventually get those big ticket sales. And following on from that point, we also have our final point, which is very similar in the sense that it would involve leveling a character again on a new server, although kind of not. So what I'm talking about here is connected realms. Now this is where the biggest change for me comes in the gold making potential from this patch, and that is that a connected realm has the same auction house and all of the capabilities of transferring items and gold from a character to one on the same connected realm. So for all intents and purposes, it's like you're playing on the same realm. You do not have to start anew as such, but on your character select screen it will appear as so. Now, you may be thinking that what's the benefit then of playing on the other realm as opposed to the one I'm already on? And that is instance lockout. So while the servers act the same when they are connected for all intents and purposes, the one way that they really differ in gold making potential is the fact that the 10 instance per hour lockout is server specific, not connected server specific. So if you have a character on realm A and you do your 10 instances and get to lockout in, let's say, 15 minutes doing a very quick run, let's say you're doing Mana Tombs or you're doing the Heart of Fear run that we discussed in our previous video, you can get to 10 instance lockouts very quickly doing those instance runs. And you will then have to sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes, or go and do something else and not able to continue that farm. But if you have a character on a connected realm, which is now of course much easier to do as of this morning, you are going to be able to log out of your character onto the character of the connected realm on realm B connected to yours on realm A, and continue doing the farm there. You will be able to get another 10 instance runs in, at which point you are both simultaneously acquiring the items that you were originally after, and you are able to send them to your character on realm A and have them effectively be the same realm. But while you're doing that, you've got a whole extra 10 instances, and your 10 instance lockout on realm A is still counting down. So it's a double whammy. You get to continue the farm and get twice as much into that time period, while also still continuing your lockout timer countdown on your first realm that you did the farm on. This is a massive change that comes from the viability of leveling up multiple characters on multiple realms, and I think it's going to be a real game changer in your gold making potential. One other minor point to add in here is the fact that the connected realms, while almost entirely are in the form of two realms that are connected, you do have some realms that are connected in groups of threes, so obviously by extension you can have all three realms have characters on them to perform a farm, and then it's the same effect, only even better still, being able to do your 10 instance lockout on realm A, 10 instance on realm B, and then 10 instance on realm C. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do drop it a like. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later.